up. Next up, we have Professor Pump, also known as Weston. If you don't recognize Weston, picture him without a shirt on. Is this the script one? 30 on the 30 on the Is it the two? Well, Uncle already hit it. So this is a story about how two game wizards saved my life. This is easily the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me, and probably will be the most embarrassing thing that will ever happen to me. It's a very weird story, and I'm not sure why I'm telling it to a group of people, but I am, so here I am. The year was 2010, and Kesha's TikTok was on the top of the charts. I don't remember. She's still there. And I was up in San Francisco for a night of ballet and vegan Thai food. One of those people. And it was in SF the night before a big bike ride. The next morning I was biking up Mount Tam with the AIDS Life Cycle group and my buddy Nick. And morning, wake up, don't have a great night's sleep, but I'm feeling pretty good, excited to go bike. I had my oatmeal, I used the restroom number 1 and number 2. Get with Nick and we start biking with these folks. And everything's going great, perfect morning, until about 30 minutes into the ride. And about 30 minutes into the ride, I'm starting to feel a bit of a stomach ache. And you know when you have to use the restroom, there's a little bit of a knock at the door, right? Kind of a polite, like, hey, it's time. It's not time now, but it'll be time soon. But sometimes when you got an upset stomach, that knock gets pretty loud and pretty aggressive. So it's about 30 minutes into the ride, and I'm starting to feel that knock. But, not a big deal. I'm biking with friends. We'll figure this out. So I asked my friend, hey, when's the next rest stop? And he's like, yeah, it's just around the corner. Don't worry about it. We'll be there in a second. Keep biking along, and the knock is getting louder and louder and louder. And I really need to go at this point. And I asked my friend again, where is the next rest stop? So just around the corner. Finally, we arrived, and it's a wastewater treatment plant, oddly enough. And I pop off my bike, get to the restroom, open the door, and someone is installed. And I hadn't started meditating at this point, but I was trying to find some inner strength, and I was just sitting there, making a lot of noise, right? Trying to let the person know that I was here and needed to use the restroom. But I was too proud to actually say, excuse me, I need to get in there now. But at this point, the banging has gotten so loud I can hear nothing but my desire to use the restroom. And as soon as at the moment when I feel like I can't hold it anymore, I can't, and I grab my pants. And I can't believe it, right? I'm sitting here, and I crap my pants. I'm like 5 miles into a 50-mile bike ride. This is a terrible day. So eventually the person finishes their damn newspaper and gets off the toilet. And I get in there and do some damage control, finish the rest of the business that needed to happen. And eventually come out of the restroom, and my friend Nick is waiting there with a shocked look on his face, like, dude, what took so long? I don't want to talk about it, let's go. So we keep biking along, and I feel like I'm out of the woods. But about 30 minutes later, that knock returns to the door. And at this point I'm thinking, there's no way. I have done my business. Once over, twice over. I feel like I'm good. And yet I still have this pain in my stomach. And I'm biking along. And I asked my friend, like, hey, when's the next rest stop? I really need to go. He said, just in the next town. So I try to be zen about this, and the knock gets louder and louder and louder. And sometimes when you need to use the restroom, sometimes you just need to fart, right? Sometimes it's not a solid solution, it's a gas solution. It's an option. And so I'm biking along, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can let out a little gas, and I'll be fine. I'm in so much pain at this point that I have to do something. And I'm biking along, and I say, okay, let's do this. And I move to the side, and I shit my pants. And I shit my pants again with the next stroke. And again with the next stroke. And again. thin, and I shit everything. My pants are filling up like a balloon. There is liquid shit running down my legs. Real story. It's hitting on my back bike wheel and hitting on my but I'm still too proud. Still too proud to admit that I've been a bad problem. And my buddy Nick, you can obviously see what's happening. Mike's up next to me and says, Weston, are you okay? And I just look forward to look at it. I look forward and I'm like, can you tell? So in a moment of deep humility, I realized I need help. I'm in a situation where I need help. I have crossed the boundary of this is an inconvenience to I need somebody to aid my situation. And so I tell my friends, go on, I need to figure this out. Figure this out alone. And I pop off my bike and I proceed to continue to shit behind the Honda Civic. And I was a nice, quaint neighborhood, Fairfax. It's in Marin County, it's beautiful. Small little cottages, kids playing soccer in the street, and me shitting behind the Honda Civic, covered in my own excrement, trying to figure out what are my next steps. So I put on my spandex and I look around, and I'm like, I need to knock on someone's door. I'm in an emergency, I need to be humble, and I need to be vulnerable and say, I need help. So I look around, and I start walking towards somebody's home that I'm going to knock on and bring my disaster to. And I start walking, and I see a man getting something out of the back of his car, and I figure, this is great. Someone's outside, I don't have to knock on the door. It's a man, he'll understand. He's been here. And so I start walking towards him, and he's an old, portly man, kind of fat, with a big beard and long hair, and no shirt on. And I start walking towards him, and he walks to the side of his car, and he's completely naked. And this is the middle of the day on a Saturday in a residential neighborhood, and he's just naked in front of his house. So I at this point realize I'm hot committed. I'm walking towards this guy. He's already seen me. He's naked, but whatever. So I start walking towards him, and I flag him down and say, excuse me, sir, I'm in a bit of a situation. I need some help. I had an accident on my bike. He's like, yeah, no problem. You want to come inside? And I'm like, no. Get out of here. Get on the concrete. And he comes back out after a few seconds with the world's smallest roll of toilet paper. One wrap before the glue. Right? Okay, let me explain the situation. I've crapped all over myself. And he's like, okay. And he brings out a hose. And he says to me, feel free to take off your clothes, I don't mind. So I stripped naked in front of this man's house in a residential neighborhood, very nice, in his driveway, and proceed to spray myself down and remove the excrement. And he's just sitting there staring at me. Probably the first time he's ever seen this in his life. And so I make small talk with him. We talk about property taxes. It was the night of the supermoon, so we talked about the supermoon. And eventually I'm done spraying myself down, spraying the bike down, and rinsing out all my spandex. And I put on my clothes, and his partner comes out of the house, and he's also an old, kind of portly gentleman with long hair, who's also completely naked, but wearing a wizard's robe around his shoulders. And I say, hey, thank you, you guys are really helping me out here. And he just looks at me, puts his hands together, and bows, as if I've just accomplished some great quest. Then I get on my bike, and I leave. Woo!
Question, Q&A.
Did it knock again after that?
That was it. That was it.
Did you finish the ride?
I did not finish the ride. I was severely
Run
dehydrated.
back.
That was the last
Was
movie.
that the vegan type?
Maybe there was like fake
ballet?
Have you eaten? Oh, the ballet was Don Quixote.
Ah.
And it was alright.
What was the vegan type?
It was in the Tenderloin. Just beware.
Was it Nick Nude?
Yeah.
Have you been through this too? Weston, what was the name of the other submission you gave?
Oh, I wanted to talk about our impact on the drought.
So we chose this one. Nice choice.
Okay, so the next talk is also about a lot of nudity. Okay. The next talk is from Ali Higgins, and she's talking about the art and history of the female nude. And she was also the only person to do auto advance.
Oh wow, okay. This is a brief, non-scientific, largely Western art history of the female nude. I started art history many years ago, and this is based loosely on what I remember. So not, don't take notes. This first one is the Venus of Milo. It's largely considered the oldest piece of art. It happens to be a woman, or, as they were known back then, a fertility object. We're going to make a big leap in time. During this time, dynasties will rise and fall. Most important for this story will be that Christianity comes about. So no nudes except for nudes in mythological scenes and religious scenes, which we'll see next. This is the birth of Venus. She's sort of a modest nude. She's covering the important parts. This is also an okay nude because the Medicis were paying for it. This are the religious nude we were talking about. This is Adam and Eve. And in this meeting, the really important things are the apple, and the cat, and the snake. That's how we know that it's Adam and Eve. I'm gonna take a breath.
Take your time, take your time.
Take a breath. Okay, so this is the first time we have nudity for nudity's sake. This is just a naked lady. She is the Grand Odalisque. Aang loved to paint these really long serpentine limbs. She actually has a couple extra vertebrae just to make her back seem that much longer, more beautiful. There's more skin to see. This is Les Déjeuners sur l'herbe, and this is sort of the beginning of modern art. There's really flat expanses of color, and obviously there's sharp contrast. We have a naked woman and clothed men, but we also have very bright skin. Whoops. Next slide. This is a new perspective. So we actually see her from the top, looking down in a super intimate setting. She's in her bedroom, likely taking a bath. This is the beginning of abstract nudity. So we have these women, and they're all staring forward, but their bodies are turned to different positions. They seem to be actually moving. We can kind of see this one especially. We're seeing her from the side. We're also seeing her front on. This is another sort of abstract nude. Nude descending a staircase. This is cubist, this is futurist. It was not included in the salon because nudes should be reclining. They shouldn't be descending a staircase. Okay, so this one, Yves Klein lined up a bunch of models, and he painted them blue, and then he told them to lay down on a piece of canvas, and he directed them to move around. So now starts the audience participation. This is an abstract nude photograph. So there's obviously no Photoshop, no photo trips. here to talk about Mabel. He had this incredible exhibition that was canceled because it received government funding, and people were worried that that would be the end of government funding for exhibitions if it actually went through. This was tame for a lot of the things that he was hoping to show. But he did pave the way for people like David LaChapelle. And so he is very modern, 2009. And this is obviously referencing one of the first paintings that we saw, The Birth of Venus. But this is supposed to have more of a balance between the men and the women. This is sort of our pop nude. So super commercialized, very airbrushed. So Mel Ramos never actually painted Uma Thurman. She didn't model for him, but he loved to include these sort of like actresses in his paintings. There's Scarlett Johansson and Pamela Anderson, Uma Thurman. This is our last painting, and so it clearly looks like some of the paintings that we saw earlier. He treats flesh the same way, but there's something almost grotesque about this. And this is something that's really coming out in contemporary art, is this sort of balance between the beautiful and the grotesque.
I think the thing Allie didn't tell you is that she set her presentation to automatically switch to the next painting after 10 seconds. So 20 seconds. So that was a real speed through every art history the last 30,000 years. Pretty amazing.